Hello, power users. Today we're taking a look at another tool included in the Gloo GSAP scroll trigger feature, line drawing. Line drawing will allow us to draw SVG strokes and lines as we scroll down our Elementor page, creating an effect that makes it look like our SVG is being drawn in real time. Let's get into it. This is what we've created using this new event type. As we can see, our main text is being drawn in as we scroll down. We further embellish the page with other GSAP events such as the split text and standard events. Tutorials for all you will need in the description. Moreover, we strongly recommend to watch the GSAP overview first before this one, as we won't expand on the settings that carry over from standard event types. In the page sections that follow, we have more SVGs being drawn as we scroll. We can see the lines filling in the more we scroll until the animation finishes, and we get into the sections that follow, each with this stunning line drawing animation, each combined with other animations made possible by GSAP Scroll Trigger. Back in the Elementor editor, we see that the SVGs actually come from HTML widgets. We can use any SVG, or even create our own. For the purposes of demonstration, we'll create a simple text SVG with Illustrator. Let's write our text and style it to the desired properties. Let's create the outlines using Ctrl-Shift-O, or by opening the type options in the menu, and then create outlines. Let's export. Select SVG as the type, and click Export once again. Another dialog window will open, in which we will select the inline style styling option. Instead of saving, we will click on Show Code, and copy the HTML code that appears. When we are downloading SVGs instead of making our own, it's still recommended to open them with Illustrator and to follow the same export procedures. Let's see how it's all set up by creating a new container, giving it a unique CSS ID in our case section, and giving it enough view height for our future animation to play out at a desirable speed. And let's add the HTML widget. Inside, we will copy our SVG HTML. We can remove the first part as we won't need it. And further, let's change the SVG ID to something easier to remember, like my SVG in this section of the code. We can then give it some margin as needed and a unique CSS ID, in this case my text. We can now create a new GSAP tween and select the line drawing event type. Our trigger element is our container CSS ID of section, and our target is my text. It's important to also write an asterisk next to it to ensure that everything with the ID that precedes it will animate properly. Default canvas and animation settings will work just fine for our example, but let's pin the text to itself in the pin options. More information about pinning in the pin functions tutorial, link in the description. In the transformation options, we'll be able to change opacity values along with fill and stroke colors for both the starting and ending points of our animation. Let's change them around some and see the result. As we can see, the stroke will fill in and appear according to our scrolling, and even change colors according to the values we set inside the event. Now, one last thing to note is that when we're using the From Event function, we will want to toggle on immediate render in the animation settings. This will ensure that the transformation settings values will be properly loaded as soon as the element appears instead of as soon as the animation starts, which would cause undesirable effects. It's not necessary to have it toggled on when we have a to function. Remember, line drawing is only one of the many amazing achievements made possible with Gloo's GSAP Scroll Trigger. We cannot wait to see what you will make with it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.